and welcome back to a brand new stream. Today we are exploring the new design drop over on PLO Mastermind. PLO Trainer has a new design, which we just released today. New functionalities, making things a lot more appealing to the eye and easier to work with. This is something we have been working on for many, many months, and today we just released this, so anyone who has access can obviously check it out for themselves. And I'm gonna, in this stream, explore it myself. Obviously, I know a good bit about it because we discussed it in the team, but I'm definitely thrilled to actually use it, test it, and see what's going on. At the moment here, we're looking at the train mode, and you can see here Ace King 5-4. Just to give you an example before we're going to jump into, or before I'm going to spread the word basically across Discord and Instagram. Ace King 5-4 here, if we're not really sure how to play this against the cutoff open, we can open the info tab and we can see here in the matrix right away that the 5-4 combos, even with bad suit, are going to be 3-betting. And then we start calling when it's more disconnected. 6-4, 7-4, 8-4, 9-4, like all this like lower bracket stuff is going to call, and like this hand is going to be 3-betting. So as we click 3-bet, we can see the EV differences, and we can see it one more time in the history tab right there. It's a 0.09 EV difference between potting and calling. If you want to study the hand, we can click over here, or we can move over to the next one. So Ace, Ace, Ace-7 is going to be a VPIP. Let's say we make a mistake and click fold. Now it's going to stop the whole thing and shows us we actually made a blunder because we lost 2.74 big blinds in EV, which is obvious. You want to play aces even if they are trip suited, or not trip suited, even if you have trip aces. And in the info tab, we can see that all the aces are going to be playing and most of them will be 3-betting. This combo here will go ahead and call, as you can see here in green. So I'm going to be exploring that and a couple of other functionalities, things you can adjust, the ranges we have, and so on. Review some hands from the championship. All of that right now on the stream. If you're watching this in hindsight, then you know what is going to happen, and you can probably skip forward here for about 2 minutes because I'm going to put out a couple of notifications right now because we are live. Yeah, I'm very excited to check this one out. All right. Seems good. We are live, guys. Let's get this thing started and off ground. The challenge has just finished. The Cash Game World Championship. And actually, Coin Poker is continuously going to experiment with the 6 max format with a 1 big blind ante. So therefore, we're going to explore some of those sims as well. At the moment, what we can see on the screen, we have 7 players with a 0.7 big blind ante in the high stakes rake cap format. So it's going to be quite similar to what we are looking at the moment in terms of the availability of the game. Because now, as we are looking at raked games again, we're going to work with different sims. And to the joy of the PLO Mastermind team, we have to run some new sims. But that's what we have been doing for 5+ years. So let's see. Coin Poker. Basically, they do have... What do they have? They have this new rake back leaderboard kind of thing. Where is this? Coin raises? Is this the one? Ah, yeah, exactly. So basically, what did they do? Let me put this over here. So $12,000 have now increased to $17,000 per day from November 3rd. Which is today, to 17. And what does that mean? It means there's this leaderboard for stakes $100 and above buy-ins where you can accumulate these points, like the PLO players. How much do you... And it's a 4-hour leaderboard, so every 4 hours you're able to win, which means you only need to focus on a 4-hour window where you put in your volume and you have a good chance at winning or placing in the leaderboard. Right? You can see the next race starts in 2 hours. So I will be playing in 2 hours trying to win this race. It's a 4-hour race, so to speak. And you can see here in previous 4-hour windows who ended up winning. It was Matt Parker, Flag something, Flag again, and then currently we have USA on top of 4,000 points. But how much do you win is my question as the top price. So let's think about this. Where do we see that? Oh, here, coin racer schedule. So you basically win. It depends on the window. Between $1,800 and $3,000. That's how much is in the prize pool. If you win $650. Let's see. So currently we have 1216. So this is the current one that is running, and then afterwards this one runs a 3K leaderboard. So the top price is $650. Yeah. So basically, if I play in 2 hours and I win this leaderboard, I'm gonna win $650 on top, which basically is going to equate to probably something like 100% rake back if I end up winning this one here. So for the next 2 weeks or so, you're able to increase your rake back by participating in the 4-hour leaderboards. And again, they kept the 6 max tables to experiment and see how popular the format is. I think it's going to be more popular than the 7 max, but we'll see what happens. And here we are. This is the new platform, guys. PLO Trainer just had a massive, one of his biggest updates ever, specifically design-wise and even functionality-wise in some ways. And we're going to go through all the changes here in a moment. But this is a first look for you guys how the train mode looks like. So if we go into a different hand, 10-9-9-6, for example, cutoff opens, we're on the button. I already know this hand is going to be a fold, but if I want to look a little bit deeper and spoil myself, I can go over here, and then I see in this matrix view, if we have a 10-9 combo that is monotone or rainbow, what side cards do we need to justify calling? And it's going to be 10-9-9-8 and 10-9-8-8. Those are the only ones because they are green, right? You can see that right over there. And all the other ones are blue, and that means all of them will be folding. So this is going to be a fold. And we can see the EV difference is 27 or 0.27 big blinds per hand. Ace Queen 10-6 with the low suit, I don't think it's going to make the cut, even though we're playing kind of more hands here. Let's see if we can study this spot to see what the cold call frequency is going to be. So this is the study mode now. It's going to bring us straight away to the actual combo, the 10996, but I'm just going to remove that one out of the search bar, and we can see we are looking to cold call 22.65% of the hands and 3-bet 7.8. And one thing that we have adjusted now is you can click on EV differences, and it's going to display the EV difference in its separate column. And that makes it easier to sort. It makes it easier to see it as well. So if I type in, if I sort, for example, by EV difference, right, we can see the most marginal hands, like when do we start calling, and what are those hands going to look like at the bottom of our range. So probably something like King 10 9 8, Ace 10 5 5. Well, Ace 10 5 5 actually has a close EV difference between calling and 3-betting. I probably would sort more by EV actually, because once we're close to 0, we're basically at the 0 EV continues. So probably it's going to look something like 10 5 5 4 double suited is, for example, a hand that has 0.01 EV. This would sort of define the bottom of our range. Obviously, we can also use the matrix continuously and say what single suited hands with pocket 10s are going to be calling. So for example, 10 10 7 6 is going to be the bottom right there, 0.25. Actually, so this is 10 10 8 6. I mean, these are all pretty solid calls. I'm looking at I'm looking at this EV window right there. Yeah, so this is the bottom, 10 10 9 3, 0.02. So over here, I'm looking at the EV that those hands have calling. But okay, we're going back. So basically with this new format on Coin, I'm looking to work on a couple of things right now in my game. I'm going to start off with preflop. Let me actually look into my stats to get a bit of a better understanding of what I want to work on. So basically here we can see like my frequencies throughout the challenge, and I can see like how much I was raising from different positions and like how close it is to GTO. Obviously throughout the challenge we had much wider ranges given that there was no rake and an ante, and so now it's really about scaling back again and getting back to normality, because I mean my cutoff RFI was 41 throughout the challenge. The optimal frequency is 39, so really close. Obviously MP 28. But now, as we're going to a raked environment, you're going to have to play a lot tighter again. So I think a bit of training would do well in order to get back into tighter ranges. And I was obviously calling a ton on the button as well. So button versus cutoff, I was calling 25%. Actually, the environment allowed for 31. So I was a bit too tight on the button throughout the challenge against an open race. My 3-bet was a bit too aggressive as well, 10 versus 8. So I think what I'm going to start off with is just the open raising stuff, because I do need to get back into playing more solid ranges. And for that, I'm going to optimize for high stakes non-ante games first. So these are games that I play on Ignition, for example, where we have no ante, but we have low rake. So if we go to high stakes, classic, high stakes like that, 100 big blinds. I think this 6 max, high stakes. So something along the lines of this. This is very low rake environment, no ante, just the traditional stuff. So under the gun opened 17.5, right? And throughout the challenge, it was a 23% optimal raise. I was raising 20. So it's not super necessary to train under the gun. It is also a spot that doesn't have a huge impact on your win rate because it happens so infrequently. You're going to fold most of the hands anyway. I'm more interested in getting back to normality in MP, starting off there. So I go to MP, And as I'm moving to MP right over here, you can see the open raise frequency that is optimal is 22.19 for the stakes that I'm playing, which is high stakes. So if this is the node that I want to train in, I click on the train button right there, and it takes me into the training. So we're going to go through some hands here, and we're going to start a session. So A7, 7 deuce. I mean, kind of triggers me to raise emotionally because I'm still in the challenge. And this might not even be an open in the challenge, but I think it's a fold. Yeah, so it's 0.05. I'm always looking at the EV difference to see like how close the fold actually would be. Let me just open Twitch for a second there. Okay. If you guys have any questions, by the way, let me know in the chat. Obviously, we're going to open the aces. So we can also remove some of the hands out of the training. And the reason you want to do that is because, for example, Jack 4, 3 deuce with 3 spades is pretty obvious fold. It's a pretty obvious fold, so I don't really need to see that. So I go to preferences right there. And then in the preferences, there is a section that is called, I think, EV spread. And I basically can say, I don't want to see hands that are going to lose, for example, 90 or 0.9. I only want to see hands that are going to lose like 0.3 or minus 0.3. And maximum, I mean, the king, queen 3 was winning 28. So I would say, let's go for 45. Apply. And then I think in the next hand, we should see that. Let's see. I think Luke is also here, right? I think now it should be adjusted to the right one, right? So let's see. So ace queen 9 7 is going to be a 19. Queen 10 8 6 is going to be a 16. Yeah, so far so good. It shouldn't be bigger than 45 or minus 30. So this would be minus 16 if we open raise this one. A776 is going to be an open. I'm already going to decide I'm going to be opening this one, but I do want to see the cutoff points. So the way I do that is by opening the info tab right there. It is an open, as we can see, but actually if we had ace 7 7 5, it would be a fold. So we have to have ace 7 7 6, ace 7 7, ace 7 6 5, obviously. And yeah, only ace 7 7 6 and ace 7 6 5 is open raising. All the other stuff is blue. So that is good. We're going to raise this one. Not like it's going to make that much EV. This is a hand that would be folding. So if I think it's too easy, I can then adjust these numbers right there in order to make the window tighter of like what hands I'm going to be seeing. Ace king 4 3 is going to be a fold. It's going to be an 11. This is a fold. It's a 26. Jack 10 8 5 is an open. It's an 8. This is 43. It would be a massive mistake if we don't open 9 9 deuce deuce. It's like 0.43 mistake. 38. Okay, this is our first mistake. So you raise the king, jack, jack 3. From this position without antes, it's going to be a mistake by 0.04. So you can tell like it's not a big mistake. If we look down here, the orange color is a mistake, but it's not a blunder. A blunder would be a bigger one, right? So if we hover over the question mark thing, we can see that if we make a mistake, it is going to be smaller or equal to 3% of the pot. And if it's bigger than 3% of the pot, the EV we're losing, then it's going to be a blunder. So it is definitely a mistake to open raise this in my environment. It's going to be one of those 2 loose hands. But also because it is close, you could also like look at the players behind you and say, well, if they don't 3-bet enough, if they call too much, like it's probably going to be a fine open. It's going to be a fold. So far we had 18, 20 correct, and then 1 mistake. So 21 hands, 95% accuracy in this spot. Ace, queen, 8, 3. I mean, I would certainly open this hand, and it would also be a mistake. So again, this is the challenge that is in the Cash Game Challenge, the World Championship, that is still in my bones. This is also going to be one that doesn't open. It's the same mistake size, 4 big blinds per 100. Easy open, 36. Open 4. Wouldn't open this hand because of the 2-gapper and the tri-suited component. So I'm looking for, like, the hand that I would open would be, that is tri-suited, is ace 9, 8, 7. Even with a 6, I wouldn't open this. So let's see in the info tab. So the ace 9, 8, 7 opens, and the ace 9, 8, 6 folds. It's almost like I studied the game before. Okay, so that's correct. Queen 5, 4, 3, I mean, again, feels cool to open, but actually the hand that I would open is queen 6, 5, 4. So queen 6, 5, 4 I would open. Queen 5, 4, 3 I would fold. Let's see if that's correct. Yeah, so queen 5, 4, 3 is actually a fold. This hand is a fold. We don't see the hand that I want to see. Let me see how I can change that. I'm just going to open the full range for a moment and then type in queen 6, 5, 4. So queen 6, 5, 4 is what I would open raise in this position. And that would be correct, right? So that's a 21 EV difference. So that was also nailed. 10, 9, 8, 8. I mean, we do have the low suit. 10, 9, 8, 8. But it's still strong enough to open 9, fold, open. So far we're 30 hands in, and I'm usually going to go through something along the lines of like 100 hands if I'm happy with the accuracy. Like the accuracy, a lot of people ask this in the mastermind, like what kind of accuracy do you want to aim for? And it depends on your preferences, right? Like if you have a very tight window here, so the training is very challenging, then I could look at something like 85 to 90. And if you have loose preferences or no preferences, then you want to have like 95 or something like that. It also depends on the difficulty of the spot, right? Like this should be a bread and butter spot where you shouldn't have a lot of mistakes because it's really not that difficult to like open raise. It's one of the first things you need to learn about PLO, right? How to open raise, what kind of hands from different positions. Ace 5, 4, 3. So ace 6, 5, 4 would definitely open. Ace 5, 4, 3 with a nut suit, single suited exactly. I would also open, but I'm not sure if the solver likes that, to be honest. So I'm going to click open, but I want to see what's going to happen here. So it is an open, and we start folding if we have ace 5, 4 deuce, ace 5, 5 deuce. Yeah, so basically if we had a gap, we would fold. So this is an open. This is correct. 12 is the win rate. Ace 10, 4 deuce. Solver really dislikes 4 deuce combo specifically. I mean, ace 10, 5, 4 is a snap open, but 4 deuce and 6, 3 are really disliked combos by the solver, so gappy. So I'm gonna fold this one, and that is actually going to be correct, and it's gonna be really close in EV, but it is correct. Ace king 7, 4. I mean, you have a 2 gapper here at the bottom, so between the 7 and the 4, the 5, 6 is missing. That's the downside. The upside is the ace and the king don't share the same suit, so you can cooler like another ace high, like a king high flush, basically, another spade flush. That being said, I don't know. A 2 gapper is pretty rough. Probably would think that the solver would want to fold and open 7, 5. So we're gonna go. I'm gonna think 7, 5 opens here. So 7, 4 also opens, and is the bottom hand. So it's gonna be a mistake. I was intending to fold, but it's a 4 big blind open per 100. This is an easy open 18. This is a fold with 6, 3. This is an open 2. Open 13. Jack 9, 9, 5. Pretty trashy, I would think. We want to have Jack 9, 9, 7, Jack 9, 9, 6. No, Jack 9, 9, 7 for sure. Jack 9, 9, 5 I fold. So Jack 9, 9, 6 would actually be the cutoff hand. I was folding, so that's correct. And then ace Jack 8, 8 tri-suited. Pretty rough hand. Obviously ace Jack 10, 10. Yeah, you can see on the top here there's a 5-card toggle. So all these features and the whole design is also available for 5-card. Whenever we ship an update, it's always going to be 5 and 4-card as well. We're gonna have a look into that in a moment. So this, I think this is too rough. So what would I open? Ace Jack 9, 9. Ace Jack 9, 9 I would open. Let's see what it says. Ace-Jack 8-8 is an open, and it would start folding Ace-Jack 7-7 tri-suited. So this is a fold. This is a mistake. And this is the first blunder of the session, right? So you can see it's an 8 big blind per 100 mistake, which in open raising is considered a blunder because it's bigger than 3% of the pot. And now on the left-hand side right there, we will see we have 1 blunder in the mix, 3 mistakes, and then 38 correct decisions. Overall accuracy currently 90%. We have lost 0.2 big blinds in total EV loss. Next hand, easy fold, easy fold, easy open for 9. Ace King Jack 5, pretty good blocker hand to raise. 7, 10, Ace Jack 9, 3, 16. So I'm always repeating the numbers just because it helps me to always attach the EV difference to the open so I kind of understand how close stuff is. And by repeating it just verbally, it just sticks more to my brain. So Ace King 6-4, before we saw the 7-4, I think the 7-4 I made a mistake by not raising. 6-4, I'm not sure. 7-5, I mean, do we want to cheat and look it up? Yeah, I made a mistake right there. I said fold, but it would have been an open, right? So 6-4 is better than 7-4 because there's only 1 gap in here. And the ace and the king don't share the same suit. So raise for 5. 12, 28, 12, 43, 23. Mistake. Ace King 9-8 tri-suited, 4. So -4. So we're currently at a 91% accuracy. Folding this one, folding that one. This is also a mistake. I would really like to open Ace 9-8 deuce. Certainly an open in the cash game championship, but not here apparently. Opening this one. Okay, so 61 hands currently. Ace Jack 10-7, rainbow would also open. Blunder. This is the biggest mistake we've made so far. Ace Jack 10-7. Let me see the graphic. We would need Ace Jack 10-9, Ace Jack 10-8. What is this combo here? Let me open this for a sec. Or I can just go here. What we need is Ace Jack 10-8. No, we need Ace Jack 10-9. We need Ace Jack 10-9, and we had Ace Jack 10-7. So that's the biggest mistake we've made so far at 15. We're losing 15 right there. Why do I need the trainer if every hand is 50-50? I know it's a troll, but like, you know, the difference between no limit hold'em, just for other people listening, is that there is basically no splitting in pre-flop decisions in PLO. So in no limit, because you have so few combos, you have hands like, I don't know, I would guess like Ace 10 suited or something, or hands like King Jack, that say in the big blind, for example, you can mix between 3-betting and calling. Because there's so few combos, you need those in both ranges, in the 3-betting range and in the calling range. But in PLO, you have so many combos pre-flop, there is no splitting. So there's no mixing or splitting between the combos. Every hand has a full frequency decision. It's either a 3-bet or a call or a fold. There's no indifference between two options. It's just too clear which option is best. Oh, this one wants to open the Ace 6-5-3 with the bottom gapper. It's a very small mistake at 1 big blinds per 100, but it's still a mistake. We call it inaccuracy because it's such a small part of the pot that it's getting blundered there. Okay, let's do 6 more hands to get to 70, I would say. Overall, with the accuracy, I'm pretty happy, but we also want to review some of these mistakes here in a second. I think this one is a fold, another inaccuracy, but this is actually 0.00. It's going to be a rounding error. Kind of wants to open, but it's very close. This one is an open, this one is an open, and then this one is also an open at 7. Okay, So now we're 70 hands in. Accuracy is 87. It's not perfect. Like I would definitely want to work a bit more on this up to 90 to 95 to be like happy with it. But it's pretty decent, and we have seen some improvements there. So the hands that I made a mistake in, let's see. So this is the session. And basically the hands I got wrong. I don't think, we can actually put this to the side and make this like full window. That's interesting. Okay, so like full mode. Are there plans to train multiple positions at the same time? Okay, let's do that. So if you go to, let's see, we go to study, we go back to train, you can actually use these skills. So skills is what we call specific skills that you can train over multiple positions. Say, for example, we want to learn how to play against one raiser in position, right? At mid-stakes rake structures, we're adding more training here like shortly. But we have low stakes on stars, low stakes on GG, and mid-stakes on poker stars. We need to add a high stakes option here as well. But let's say we would say random preflop, for example. Or let's start with versus one raiser in position, right? So now it's going to mix the different positions. In this case, for example, we are in the cutoff at mid-stakes rake structures, right? There's no ante here. And we see a raise from MP, we call, which is correct. The next one, we're on the button against the cutoff. We're going to fold. Over here, we are in MP versus EP. We're going to 3-bet. This one is a fold. Then here we are on the button. Oh, this, yeah, ace jack 9-9 wants to 3-bet. And it's a inaccuracy. It's not a huge deal, but even in the cutoff, we want to 3-bet bluff this hand. I mean, bluff is a weird word to use. Ace 8-7-7. I mean, ace 9-9-8. I would definitely be 3-betting. Ace 8-7-7. I'm leaning more towards calling against EP. I mean, against any position really. So I would just call this hand, but I want to look at the info for a second. Oh, here we don't have the thing yet, right? So I'm gonna open this up right there. So we had ace 8-7-7. I would just go ahead and call. And that is actually a mistake by, again, only 2 big blinds. But that hand is going to be 3-betting. So ace 8-7-7 is a 3-bet. What if we have ace... Let me go into this matrix view. So if we have a double suited ace with 7, well, we have ace 7-7, ace 8-8. So let's say we have like ace 8-8-7, ace 8-8-5. A lot of these ace 8-8 hands, these are all the pairs right there. Ace 8-8-4 is 3-betting. If we go back to ace 7, so we have 7s here, right? So ace 7-7-6 and ace 7-7-5 is just flatting. But we have ace 8-7-7, I see. So ace 8-7-7 is 3-betting. Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, it's not like the EV difference is that large, but it's still an interesting one. So you can see you can change the different positions. I see what Luke's saying there. Ace 10-10-9, just calling. Here on the button, we're folding. This is an easy call. So if you want to just mix all the positions, then you can just go to the skills section, right? So let's say we're going to go random preflop. Never tried this, obviously. We just released this design today and these functionalities. So now we're looking at all sorts of different spots. We open the cutoff button, 3-bets back to us. Just calling this hand. I would be 4-betting more like an ace, jack, 10-8, for example. It's actually sizable mistake. This is also going to be a 4-bet. Study this hand. Ace, queen, 9-8. So I want to see double suited ace, queen with good suit, right? Is there, and then here is the lower suit. So actually a ton of ace queen is 4-betting. Oh, these are pocket queens. Ace queen, jack 10, jack 9, jack 8, 10-8. So ace queen 10 ace, queen, jack with any sort of connectivity, especially the 10 obviously loves 4-betting, but even 9-8. Now 9-7 wouldn't be 4-betting, but even ace, queen, 8-7 is 4-betting. Even with low suits is over here. So obviously we love the 10, the ace, queen, 10, 7, 8, 6, even ace, queen, 10, 5. Unblocking the pocket kings that hopefully folds against the 4-bet. But that is an interesting one. So first blunder. Here we have raise call. I mean, this is actually good training right now for me because in the challenge, you're supposed to defend the big blind so wide. I don't think this hand makes the cut in a normal environment. It's correct. 7-7-3-3. Actually, from the big blind, we're 3-betting a bunch of these double-paired hands against earlier seats. But I think this one is a bit too rough, honestly. I think we're just calling. I would be 3-betting 7-7-5-5 double suited. Ah, it's also a mistake. Even 7-7-3-3 is 3-betting here. Let me open this one up. So I want to see double pairs that are double suited. MP, big blind versus MP. Wow. So basically 91% of double pairs that are double suited are 3-betting here. Only 10-10-5-5, 9-9-3-3, 8-8 deuce deuce 9-4-4. Like the most disconnected stuff. But because 7-7-3-3 can still make a straight, I suppose we're still 3-betting. Pretty aggressive stuff right there. Open raising here. Defending the big blind. Wouldn't 3-bet this hand. Defending the big blind. Actually a fold outside the challenge here. Not a huge deal. Easy open. There's a fold. Raising the cutoff facing a 3-bet in position. Obviously in an ante environment you're always calling here. But without an ante, it's a pretty rough combo, honestly. Like I might actually want to fold. And that would be a large mistake. Okay, we need to do some preflop training here. The random training is perfect for me here because I am definitely making a bunch of mistakes. At the moment, the accuracy is only 60%. Already one blunder, which is this hand. 10-7-6-4. It's also a difficult one. Man, these are pretty difficult. 10-7-6-4. I mean, obviously with an ante, I would just be flatting. I suppose it is a fold. Don't really like folding, but I guess we need to show some discipline. It's a 3-bet. Why am I folding? Okay, this is a 3-bet. I thought we need more connectivity to be 3-betting, but no. 10-7-6-4 is also going to make the cut. Folding a queen 8 deuce deuce. Jesus, man, I need to do some training here. So this is probably like raise or fold strategies. Oh wow, we're folding ace king queen 3. Jesus, man, I'm making so many mistakes right now. This is a mistake. Okay, we gotta end the stream. Okay, let's lock in. Oh my god, let's put on. Let's see. Wait, some questions in the chat. For the MTT solutions, are you going to add the pot limp and the 2.5x solution also to the skills? Let me duplicate the window so I don't lose my training. My valuable training where I make all mistakes. Change training. We're going to go to MTTs. I see what you're saying. So in here, for example, open raising, you're asking if we're adding open raising smaller size instead of just potting in this instance. So basically the other solution. Yeah. I mean, we're going to expand it, but that's a good one. Random entity is coming. Skills is for, yeah. Probably want to, I'm not sure exactly how we're going to expand in the skills section particularly, but for the moment, obviously I would recommend for MTTs to go into our 2.5x solution. I mean, you already know that, right? But you would just go like 30 big blinds, 2.5x. If this is the sizing choice of yours, I don't know, let's say you're facing an open from the cutoff, 30 big blinds, chip EV here, starting the session. then it's not mixing anything. It's just this one note. But that's kind of like how I would go about it. Let's get 30 big blind steep. Probably just potting this, yeah. I'm not going to go into MTTs right now. It's going to just mess up my mind. Although, oh wow, we're 3-betting the king, queen, 5-4 as well. Okay, let's skip this before I'm going to lose all my confidence. I'm going to move on with this one. We open EP, the button 3-bets. We already know that the ace, queen, 9, 7 specifically like is not going to be a 4-bet candidate, so we call. We're folding. Are you kidding me? Let me study this spot. What the hell's going on here? What the hell's going on? Ace, queen, 9, 7 is folding in this spot. Because of the low suit, these low suit hands are folding. Huh. Disgusting. Let me see if I change this to high stakes. Is that going to change anything if the rake is lower? EP. We open EP, button 3-bets us. It goes back to us. And I want to see the double suited ace, queen, 9, 7. Even then we're folding. It's just a fold, ace, queen, 9, 7 low suit. Wow, okay. By how much? Five. Okay. That's interesting. Yeah, some questions in the chat here answered by Luke. Is coin poker legit? Do you think the algorithms are realistic? Please answer me, man. Yes, I do think, you know, I played millions of hands online. And to be honest, although I hate when someone says to be honest, it's just such a dumb, I guess it's like a habitual thing. But anyway, it's not like I'm not honest normally. But I played millions of hands online, right, over the last 20 years. And on basically almost every poker site, I felt the distribution is completely normal, or it feels the same as on any other site. But there are some exceptions sometimes where I'm like, this feels a little bit strange. It has never been any of the big sites. It has never been that. It has been like smaller stuff or unofficial like app games or, I don't know, clunky poker startup sites kind of thing, where sometimes the algo felt a little bit weird. And I'm talking about very, very, very few exceptions over 20 years, you know, less than 5, probably 3. Like I played on 3 sites or skins where I was like, this is a bit weird. Not very weird, just a little bit weird. And no, it's not on Coin or any of the big sites. Like people just have no clue about variance. You know, they just think, oh my God, I just lost 6 pots. I lost aces. This is rigged. You know, it's like, bro, you have no clue about how the game works in terms of variance and distribution, all this kind of stuff. So no, it's not rigged. Just don't understand like the math of the variance of the game. Listen, I'm not going to disclose any site names because it's just going to get me into trouble. I'm just letting you know that I never felt weird on any of the big sites, okay? Never felt anything. And I played millions of hands online. So if I put in volume on a site, for example, coin poker, and the distribution is a bit different, I would notice it because I played so many hands and there's absolutely nothing to notice. It's the exact same as on PokerStars. It feels the exact same way. There's no difference. And also I have so many hands, like hundreds of thousands of hands across different poker sites. I can look into the data and there's nothing that stands out as in like, I don't know, doesn't make sense, doesn't add up, you know, is not correct. Absolutely nothing. There's nothing. But again, there are some sites where it's like very, very few. So yeah. How can I launch random board training in the new UI? For example, random boards. So is random board integrated already, Luke? Random MTT. I think random board training is still coming, right? It's not yet there. Yeah, I think the card shuffling feature is in a external independent blockchain method on CoinPoker, something like that. But again, in this challenge, right, you see so many whole cards, and I've accumulated so many hands playing so much volume in this challenge. I can tell you the data looks absolutely clean. There's nothing, there's no outliers, there's nothing special. It's just like this is how poker works. Random board training is going to be added. Okay. So let's go back to random. This is preflop training in random spots. So we're basically looking at all sorts of different spots. Ace deuce 3. I mean, we should be 3-betting almost all aces in position. I wonder if this could be the exception. Probably not, because we want to get the 4-bet. Oh, this is the exception. Ace deuce 3. So going back to this spot for a second. Cutoff opens. We got ace. 90% 3-bet, 9% call. Actually, a good amount of calling there. If we look into rainbow aces, yeah, here at the bottom, it's a bunch of calling. My accuracy is so low right now. I need to grind in some hands and increase this accuracy. Queen 8-6-5, not 4-betting. 9-9-6-5 in MP. What is this? Mid stakes, no ante. I mean, honestly, I would obviously call, but in this particular structure, our range is so tight, but still. Yeah, it's a call. Okay. Raise button, get 3-bet by the small blind. Definitely calling. Under the gun raises 9-7-6-3. I mean, how many gaps do we want? We have 2 at the top, 1 at the top, the 8. The 8 is missing, the 5 and the 4. So we have a 3-gapper. I mean, on the in an ante game, I would call. Let's say call. No, it's a small inaccuracy, manageable. We open under the gun. MP3 bets us. We're gonna fold this hand. We're in the small blind first in. Probably playing kind of razor fold. There's not much limping. So, well, this is actually a good limp, but in this structure, I don't know. Don't really care too much about the spot because I don't really play this rake environment, and the small blind is going to be very different. Oh yeah, it's a perfect limping hand, even in for this environment. This is a fault. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna go back to my particular sims that I'm looking for. We're gonna do some post flop right now. I want to look into what else do I want to work on. So these are my pre-flop stats that I've been working on, things that I've been particularly paying attention to throughout the challenge. You know, sort of my weak points: fold versus 4-bet, fold versus 3-bet out of position. But I would say as far as like pre-flop goes, for today, we're like done with a bit of the warm-up training, and we're gonna go into post-flop. Let me see what I want to work on post-flop. I don't want to share my exact data post-flop because it's a bit revealing. If you know what you want to look for, then you can see my mistakes. Yeah, so things I've been struggling with is c-betting in position in 3-bet pots, for example. Yeah, that's pretty interesting. Yeah, this is something I've been working on recently. So let's say we're going to go to train. And how do we set up the training? Here, we're going to say post-flop. We want to work on cash game post-flop for 3-bet pot on the button versus the cutoff, right? 100 big blinds deep. And so now the question is, what kind of boards do we want to work on? And I would say we're going to start with these unpaired rainbow flops that are king high. Like some of these are pretty common. For example, this one. But I don't want to work on the cutoff. I want to work on the button. So we're using a 1/3 sizing here, 100 big blinds deep on king jack 6. And out of position is also going to have a leading range. So this hand here, probably happy just bet folding. And if we study the spot for a second, I want to see how often out of position is leading or supposed to be leading here in the spot. So 21%. The thing is, a lot of your opponents will just check full range on this flop. That's going to change your strategy quite a bit. I do think we also have sims that exclude the donk bet, right? So this one here excludes the donk bet. So king jack 6. If you look at this sim here, out of position has no donking range. And so in position C bets now 49%. And in this one, where out of position does have some donks, in position C bets 70%. So that's a huge difference. Yeah, so it's pretty tricky. Like you probably want to train the one where people don't donk, because people just don't donk enough in 3-bet pots out of position. Do you think PLO 25 is harder than PLO 100? No. This is like a... I think it's very easy. It's very easy to I had this conversation yesterday with a friend. It's very easy to underestimate the levels that exist in poker skill. You know, it's you don't know what you don't know, so to speak. But a lot, let's say you play PLO 25, right? And you think that the skill gap in the game is like at a 10, and you recognize you're currently at a 4, right? And you're like, hey, I'm at a 4. If I'm going to move myself up to 10, and then I'm going to be able to play higher, like all this kind of stuff. Like 10 is the max, but it's more likely that 100 is the max, and you're currently at like an 8 or something like that. And the game goes much higher than a lot of people realize, oh, it's a hand here and there, decision right there and there. But there are so many levels to the game, even in this challenge, like there are so many players that play different from each other, and there are levels to this. And so it's very common in poker to think that everyone else sucks and that you are, so good and special. But the reality is that a lot of players are really good, and then there are a bunch of players that are like way, way better than you. It's just like hard to recognize it because you don't even know what they know. You don't even see it coming, basically. So in this spot, I'm gonna train. I'm happier to train with the solution where people don't donk. So here we have to be a lot more careful with how often we see bet, because out of position checks full range. So ace 9 9 7, we have to start picking our bluffs. I mean, the 2 9s block obviously some of the straight draws. However, having 2 hearts is not great. Not blocking any of the pairs is not great. So I would probably, I don't know, we 3-bet pre. So we're doing pretty well on this board. We have some pretty strong hands. Can we mix in a bluff right here with ace 9 9 7? I mean, I don't like the 9s that much in my hand. I don't like the hearts, obviously. I don't like the 7. Maybe I would just check back here and maybe bluff on the turns and rivers. Yeah, okay, Solver agrees with that. Top set. Obviously, top set is going to check back some portion of the time. But when we don't have a straight draw and we have 2 hearts in our hand, I think we're much likelier to bet. So yeah, we are betting this one. And then ace 10 10 deuce double has a ton of really valuable turn cards. Obviously a 10 or a queen, backdoor flush draws as well. We could have the best hand right now as well. So we don't want to put much chips into the middle at the moment, I would think. We just want to see the turn, especially with 2 backdoor flush draws. It's actually wrong. This hand is weak enough, apparently, and has substantial enough blockers to start betting and putting pressure on a king or a jack. So if we study the spot, is out of position folding a king already against 1/3? I mean, probably not many king X hands are folding against a third, but certainly a jack is folding and pocket queens are obviously folding. So if out of position has a king, they're never folding, almost less than 1%. If he has a jack, 11% of the jacks are folding. Obviously, queens is folding 36%. So we're making some hands fold. We're making some equity fold here for sure. We can go back to ace 10 10. Let's say ace 10 10 with either a deuce 3 4 5, something like that. How much is this guy raising? He's going to pot into us. Yeah, so we have to give up with ace 10 10. Okay. Here we have bottom 2. It's just going to be a check back. Like, we don't want to get ripped into with bottom 2. Here we have the nuts, basically, with a lot of playability. If we have one pair with really good backup, I don't think it's strong enough to slow play. Like, we're looking to slow play more like top 2, sets, that kind of stuff. Ace ace 10 9, no backdoor flush draw. If we bet, we gotta stack off. Probably, I mean, I would probably just bet. I don't know. Maybe we want to check, actually. Convincing myself to check. Yeah, it's close. So ace, queen, queen, 10, I think, is a good one to check back. Because when we get ripped by kings or king, jack, or pocket jacks, we don't have that much equity, actually. And we are way ahead of the weak stuff that my opponent has. So there's no reason to protect. We're building a pot. It's not that interesting, I think. Yeah, it's a check. And then here we have bottom pair blocker and then the queen blocker. It's an interesting one. Probably would bet fold this. We have some barreling options as well. Middle set is nice because we are unblocking top pair. So we do want to start building the pot, I would think. It's also correct. Check back this one. Betting over here. Ace 8 8 4, sort of a wasted hand. We don't have anything. Could bet fold this one. Just start betting. No, we don't like the 2 8s, I guess, in our hand. I wonder if we have ace 5 5 4. Is that going to be different then? Yeah, ace 5 5 4, we do bet on the flop. But we do want our opponent to have the 8 in their hand, so they're folding more. That makes sense to me. It's queen, queen, deuce. Actually, we're bet folding this one. Not enough backdoors. So top 2, inside straight draw, backdoor flush draw. Could we start slow playing? Possibly. I mean, possible combo. Top 2, not gutter. Possible. I would still think the solver probably doesn't slow play, but possible. Yeah. Here we probably just check. 4 4 3 3 is just certainly a bet. Oh, it's not. We want to see it. We want to turn a set, I guess. I suppose it's too valuable to see the turn card. We can still bluff, obviously, somehow down the road. Okay. Let's do a couple more hands here. So bottom 2, easy check. Ace, king, king, 6, kind of tricky. Probably best off just checking and taking it from there, not trying to pump in too much money. Ace, ace, jack 5 could just be a bet fold, question mark. I mean, we're bet folding a pretty good hand if we do bet fold, but with 3 hearts and ton of blockers to raising ranges, Yeah, I think we got a bet fold. Once we start checking back and we see a turn probe, like how do we absorb aggression at this point? It's very difficult, I would think. Yeah, we just bet fold. Let's just double check. So we bet, get potted, and we have ace, ace, jack, 5. Yeah, so it's a bet folding hand. We saw this one before. Good one to check back. This one, just betting and getting it in, I think is fine. King 10, 9, 7, just checking back. Oh, we want to bet. King 10, 9, 7. We're bet folding then. Yeah, so if I look at this, it's a result of not having a backdoor flush draw. It looks like if we have King 10, 9, 7 with the backdoor flush draw, we're more likely to check over here. And then we're betting the ones that we're happier bet folding, especially when we have hearts, as you can see here at the bottom. Okay. Okay, I would say, let's do one more hand. Betting. Betting. Oh, ace, 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 9 is not a bet. It's very close. And then this one, I really want to see the turn, I feel like. Okay. So say we're good with this. We bet. And I want to play some turns. So what is this? 3-bet pots. What is this button? Turns. This one is an interesting one. So King 10, 3, it goes check and check. Turn comes in as a break with a flush draw. I guess out of position only pots. That's an interesting one to probe the turn. Let's see. Probably our frequency of probing is pretty low because we're basically saying we have aces beat by probing the turn for pot. And I would think this hand has a ton of value. I'm blocking the spades as well. So I would pot this hand for sure. Let me just look at the overall frequency for a second. So how often do we probe? Probably something like 25% or less, I would think. It's not easy to find good hands here. So 28% probing for pot. So this hand, I would not be too happy probing, to be honest, because if we pot, I guess we cannot fold anymore with the wrap. We're in pretty rough shape here against turn jamming range. If he has a hand like ace 5 of spades or something along those lines. So I probably would be happier without a pair blocker, without a spade blocker, just to check call the turn. But let's see if that's too passive. No, that seems good. Here with queens, I mean, we have some showdown to work with. We can just check call the turn. Wow. So queen, 6-5 with a spade blocker wants to actually turn themselves into a bluff. That's interesting. I guess that we don't have enough showdown actually at this point. Let's see this for a second. So we have queen, 6-5. And we do need a spade, right? If we don't have a spade, we don't go for this. But if we do have a spade, we prefer bluffing. And if you look at the equity graph right there, let's see if that displays our equity. So it's interesting. I mean, we do actually have a lot of equity with this hand against the check back range on the flop. So we do have 55%. Yet we still choose to bluff. That's pretty surprising. Maybe it is a function of making worse hands call the turn sometimes. And then we also have some interesting river bluff opportunities, especially with a high spade. And also with the 2 straight draw blockers. So if the river is a 9, we can just jam. If the river is the 8 of spades, are we going to rip? Question mark. So let's see how this works out. We pot, we get called, and the river is the 8 of spades. I would assume queen, queen, 6, 5 with the queen of spades. We're just going to rip there. Yeah, so it's going to be a bluff jam. With the low spade, we're giving up. And then, so say, for example, the river is it's a 9 that is offsuit. Then we probably just jam all those combos. Queen, queen, 6, 5. Yeah, so we have a pretty decent plan for the river. If the river is a 6, queen, queen, 6, 5. I mean, queen, queen, 6, 5, river is a 6. Probably not a friend of jamming intuitively, but let's see. So river is a 6 of hearts. It's queen, queen, 6, 5. Yeah, we're not jamming. We're not bluffing, basically. Yeah, so that's an interesting. It's an interesting. Like the river plan is quite intuitive, I would think. Potting there. Wait, what? I'm not special? Unfortunately not. But it's also a good thing, you know? Looking forward to seeing your 2K and 500 top 10 list. It's going to be based on your in-game sample only, or did you catch many viewed hands too? It's going to be based on the statistics from the hands that I have from playing, right? But also I talked to other regulars, talked to, this has been a really interesting championship in different ways. Like it definitely brought the PLO community closer together. At least that was my impression. I actually I received 4 separate messages throughout the challenge of different high stakes regulars that were telling me how good I was playing during this challenge, which is something that actually never happened before to me, which is pretty interesting, you know, like being an educator in the space, I do have certainly a good share of players that want to see me fall, which is it just comes with the territory. Not everyone is happy that someone is out there educating PLO players, obviously, because it's going to take away from their bottom line in some ways. But obviously without it, we also wouldn't have a software like this. But yeah, I mean, it has been really cool to see. First of all, I felt like my game was improving a ton, but also getting that reconfirmation. So I think I really appreciated that. But anyway, I was talking to different regulars, people that I don't usually talk to because they reached out to me and discussed a bit, you know, how they thought about the challenge, the opponents and that kind of stuff. And a lot of the players really said, like, you know, a lot of the players were really, really good. Like we had a lot of really good opponents that were showing up. A ton of the best 6-max PLO players online showed up and played and battled. And I asked them, like, who do you think, you know, were the best players? And obviously there is a bias because the players that give you the most headache will come to mind first. But a lot of the times, the players that give you the most headache, they also had a favorable distribution of cards against you specifically. Like they had the right bluffs in the right moment, maybe a few times. They had the right call down, the right instincts in the right moment against you. A lot of that is also variance. So it's a bit difficult to be super objective about who the best players were, only from your own experience. So that's why I'm adding in statistics. And then through the statistics, you're at least able to gauge like what is in general the agreed upon strategy that a lot of the top players share. Like what's frequencies are shared by a lot of the top players. For example, when you look at one win soft flop, right? How often someone wins the pot when they see the flop. There's a certain reference range a lot of the best players played within. And if you fall outside the reference range, there's just a much stronger probability that you're not going to be one of the top players. Because at this level, at 2K PLO online, like the game we played there, it is just very unlikely that you have an exotic strategy that is very different to any of the other top regulars and you're crushing or even winning. So, for example, one win soft flop during this challenge, a lot of people agreed it's going to be between 45 and 48. Some of the very aggressive players, you know, like Razvis, like the guys that just come in and beast around, They were above the 45 mark, 46, 47. I mean, you can also look at 48, but 48 for this challenge in the multi-way pot is a bit crazy. And then there were some players at the top of the leaderboard. They were holding a 42% women's off flop, or even 41. And I would say it's so far away from the reference range, it's very unlikely that that's going to be one of the top players in this challenge. If you had a lot of winnings in this challenge and your women's off flop is 41 or 42, I think more likely what happened is that you had a lot of really, really strong hands on the river, value hands, that got paid off. And that's how you accumulated all the winnings. But you did lose a ton of small pots because your woman's off flop is so small because you didn't fight enough and people basically outplayed you. And that can be proven or shown in the woman's off flop. And also there are different metrics around that I would be using, right? So that is like one statistic. And so I would basically look at that and then a bunch of other statistics as well, right? So for example, you know, what is the win rate in small pots that are 10 big blinds and lower, across the boards, aggression frequencies, how many bluffs they arrive with on the river, how often they give up on the river versus calling versus betting, like different indicators like that. And, you know, funny enough, yesterday I played a session. I'm going to show you this here. So I played a session yesterday on 2 different sides. And I want to show you how this looks. So there's definitely like a lot of experimentation that is possible with the acquired knowledge, you know, from like these other players, because these players got away with a very high woman's off flop in a very tough environment. If you apply the same thing in a softer environment, you know, you can really get away with quite a bit. And I mean, this is an example of me taking it a bit too far. But if you look at this session here, obviously in red line, if you look at big blinds, I'm like winning 10 stacks in red line. Now it came at a bit too high of a cost. I mean, my EV was still positive, but this is just an experiment of like, hey, if you're trying to win every single hand, like how would it look like? And you see my woman's off flop here is 52. Which is really, really high. But kind of stuff like that, especially in an anonymous pool, like Ignition, for example, like can work really well if you kind of know what you're doing, right? So if I go back to, what is my Ignition thing? Let's see. I don't really want to show my Ignition number. I'm not sure if that's a thing or not. So I need to quickly make an alias for it. There's no scorecard yet in the new UI, but we are expanding it into a dashboard and all this kind of stuff. So stuff is coming past post Black Friday, so past November. But at the moment, this is the update. We're going to go into a couple other features as well in a second. I mean, if you're playing mid stakes or low stakes and your 1 month off flop, for example, is pretty low, like 44 or 43 or 42, I mean, it's the first thing I would probably be working on. Now, if your 1 month off flop is high, but your VPIP is 22, I mean, it's not going to help you either. You know, you just have the nuts pre-flop all the time. So yeah, you're going to win a lot of pots once you see the flop. The problem is you never see the flop. You're just giving up all these blinds and antes. So that's not going to work either, right? You have to be solid pre and have a high woman's off flop in combination. Let's see, I'm trying to load this thing. Well, while it's loading, let's play the next hand. So 3-bet pot, we didn't lead. Check, check, flop. On the turn, we have the nuts. So bet. Probably need a better hand to start trapping. 9-9 deuce deuce. I mean, it's just too exotic. I suppose we have some bluffs on some like queen, but are we willing to ship river on a queen with 9-9 deuce deuce? I mean, I would not feel comfortable, I guess. So check. Queen, queen, jack 10. I mean, at this point, it's almost a value hand. It probably is a value hand. Could we make weak aces fold or a weak king? We could actually make king 9, 8, 7 fold. We could make some of the weaker aces fold as well. It's kind of interesting. It's almost a value combo. We have a ton of spade blockers, so basically aces with turn spades is way less likely, or somewhat less likely. I don't know. I would just be happy potting and see what happens. Yeah, solver agrees on that one as well. This is a bit of a weird one. So ace, queen, jack 3. First instinct would be I don't want to get jammed on the turn by some slow played set. We also, but at the other side, we only have a 3, so we can make a weak king, some queens fold. We can make a 10 fold. We could bet and stack off. I don't know. My instinct would be to check this hand to play check call. Maybe it's too passive. We'll see. Seems good. Ace, queen, 10, 5. This is more of a combo where I'm thinking maybe we want to bluff, but it's probably too good. We have a double gutter to the nut, basically the nuts on either side. Second nuts at the bottom. Or third nuts. Well, we have a good hand to check call. I don't want to get ripped when I bet. Oh, this is actually a hand that we could turn into a bluff here. Ace, queen, 10, 5. It's interesting. I guess we're really challenging the king or bad aces. So if we go ahead and pot the turn, how often is in position folding aces here? I would think it's probably going to be like 40%-ish or something. Yeah, 38% of aces are folding. So we can make aces fold by potting the turn. And we specifically want to fold out these like checked back aces with hearts. So when we don't have a heart, I would think it's much likely we're aggressing. That's why I wasn't a huge fan of this hand necessarily. But yeah, we're trying to make aces fold with those middling cards. So I guess this hand does a good job at not holding a 9, 8, 7, 6, 9, 8, 7, 6. Because those are the side cards we're trying to fold out alongside aces. And that's also true for the king, right? If our opponent has the, king 9, 8, 7, then he's going to fold a turn against pot. So we don't want to hold the 8, 9, 7 in our hand, the 8, 9, 7, 6. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. We don't love the hearts, but we do really like the fact that we don't have the 9, 8, 7, 6 in our hand. And then this is the opposite. We have a 9, 8, 7 in our hand. And it's weird because we have 3 spades. So it's kind of feels like we want to bluff. It feels like we want to bluff. Yeah, so here is like some ignition stuff. I mean, this is only 5,000 hands. It's just a small sample. Like, what is my 1-1 soft flop here is 47. It makes sense. I mean, without showdown is minus 1.4. Yeah, all I'm saying is like you can definitely be like pretty aggressive if you play against the weaker player pool. And a lot of these lessons, like how to be aggressive when and so on, they can be learned through whatever you took out of the challenge in terms of the hands that you've played. And that's exactly going to be my focus around the PLO Mastermind content. Here on YouTube, I'm going to talk about like who I think are the top 10 players, and we're gonna look into some of the coolest hands I've played, and some of the dumbest hands as well. Yeah, but I guess like the more informative, research content, I have to reserve it for the PLO Mastermind, because that's basically our business model. So this hand here, I don't know. We don't like the 10, 9, 8, but at the same time, we also have 3 spades and a 10 blocker. So it sounds like we should probably bet. Yeah. It's just the 3 spades is just such a strong factor. I guess we're going to go for a bet. Queen, queen, deuce, deuce. I don't know. I mean, we have pretty good hand. We don't have the 9, 8, 7, so we could get some weaker aces to fold and also some king X hand to fold. but my intuition would be that we don't want to bet because we can quite comfortably check call, and then we can donk the river as a bluff on some of the cards, especially around the queens. So I would check, and the solver disagrees. Man, solver really likes to punish the check back range here quite a bit. Okay. Ace, king, jack, 8. I mean, I wouldn't say we have the nuts, but we have a pretty good hand. Just pot it, man. We have a good hand. Pot it. Pot it. This hand, is it good enough to slow play? No. I mean, he's going to have like ace, ace, 5, ace, ace, deuce, some king X turn stuff. Probably don't want to slow play. I want to build a pot and win. This is a pretty bad hand in terms of blockers. So we check. No, my mic is not muted, but maybe I am muted because of Twitch. I don't really know how that works. Yeah, I don't know if it's an issue on Twitch. I mean, I guess it is, because on YouTube we just keep running with sound, right? Yeah. This hand, is it okay. Okay, so here we have like pretty low showdown and infinite blockers. The 4 blocker, the 2 6 is the spade, the 5. So bet folding sound pretty logical to me. That is correct. But how do we play the river then? So let's say we pot and get called, and the river is a 8 of spades. We have 6 6 5 4 with a low spade. I don't know. I probably would not jam, because the thing is, my opponent did call a pot-sized turn bet. It's a pretty large bet. Well, the solver is just like, you know what? We're all in, right? Actually, we're not all in. We're blocking. Okay, that's another option that I didn't even think about. It's like, hey, we're going to bluff the river for a third. Okay, that's pretty cool. So we're not willing to risk our whole stack as a bluff. We saw that if we did have the queen, queen, 6, 5, we do jam, but we also have the option to block. That's an interesting one. So when we bet a third on the river here, what is our opponent folding? That means aces without a spade. Let's see. Aces without a spade is, I don't think all of those combos are folding, but 75% of those combos are supposed to fold against a third. That's very nice. What about aces with a spade? 20% of the combos are supposed to fold. Can we 1/3 a non-flush hand? So let's say we don't have a flush. And we don't have a flush. So apparently, if you have a flush blocker and we have 2 pair or a set, I mean, it doesn't really happen that often, to be honest. King, king, king 10, not really. Not really, let's say. So what is value betting 1/3? Some of the flushes are value betting 1/3, I guess, instead of jamming. I mean, I would be hard-pressed to just rip it in with the nuts, but it looks like we prefer that line. I can understand the 3-spade argument. We have 3 spades. We really want to offer a good price. I can see that. Like, if we bet 1/3 and this guy rips, are we just like inducing with the low flush, like the queen eye flush, and that's why we bet small? I mean, it's a tricky spot. We are like bet calling for small with some of the flushes that way. So I suppose it kind of works as like we can block the river to induce the ace of spades to jam as a bluff, which is a tricky one, you know, because how many people really bluff jam the river here for like a min raise? Let's say this guy has the ace of spades without the flush. He's supposed to bluff jam half of those combos and then call the rest as a hero call. So he's obviously supposed to bluff jam here for a bit more than a min raise. But how happy are you doing it in real time? It's a tricky one. Let me look at this leaderboard here. In 40 minutes, we start a new cycle in the leaderboards. So CoinPoker starting today has these new leaderboards every 4 hours. You can win money in a 4-hour cycle. So I'm going to start grinding in 41 minutes. Okay. What is this? King 443. We got the nuts. Let's pot. Sounds good. Jack 10-6-6. Sounds like a pot to me. Sounds good. So now we come into this sort of more marginal hand combos situation. So the ace 10-6-3. If we pot and we get piled, we sometimes get trapped and we're dead. So I would think I would probably want to check and see what's going to happen here. Like you also need some good hands in your checking range. This one is a pot. This one is a pot. Ace queen 5-5. Just pot and get it in. Here we turn the wrap, no spade blocker. I don't know. I'll probably check, to be honest. But it's, yeah, check call. Okay. I think this one is pretty nicely explored. Let me look into the update that Luke wrote on Discord to see what are actually the updates on the software. So let's have a look. Let's read through this. If you join our Discord channel, by the way, PLO Mastermind, you know there are paid channels and there are free channels. Obviously, if you're in the mastermind, make sure to join because there is, you know, discussions. You can ask questions, feedback. All the updates are in there. All this kind of stuff. So now we have skills trainings. Okay. And this is also available to the free members. So if you are a free member, plmastermind.com/preflop-pass, then you can use preflop solutions for free, also using the new UI. A fresh and modern design, PLO Trainer has been updated to make navigation smoother, cleaner layout, and everything you need is easier to find, including improved range and matrix view, clearer EV difference visualization, quick switch between 4 and 5. Let's have a quick look at that. If I go to 5 card, well, let's make sure I'm not like leaking my stuff. In case there's I'm already logged in, okay. So 5 card is blue and 4 card is green. So if we go into a solution in 5 card, say, I haven't played 5 card now for a month. I don't know. We go into this solution, cutoff opens, we're on the button. We're going to jump into training like this. 5 cards, man. It's a new game again. So you got this, the same thing going on here, obviously. Ace Jack 7-5-3 seems pretty shitty, but I would probably call. Wait, maybe I'm a 5 card god. Look at this. I am 9 out of 9 correct. 10 out of 10. 9-6-6-4-4 double. Okay, here's the here is the blunder. This is supposed to be a fold. Really? Okay. Let's go back to this. Yeah, head over to YouTube. I don't know what's going on Twitch. Twitch is just a dying platform. Okay. what was I thinking? I'm not really sure. I would say I'm gonna go into one more training. Oh no, we read through this thing. Losing my train of thought here. So new train smarter with the new training center. Training mode now offers 2 streamlined ways to start a session. Instant training from study mode, we did that, and also custom training and training center, we did that as well. Build skills faster, did that as well. Better in feedback and session overview. Preferences, menu feedback, yes. Histogram, personal score summary, exactly, okay. And then if you, there's a tutorial right over here. I actually need to shoot a tutorial myself as well, but, okay, perfect. So,
hey guys, so what's
Luke
up?
already did that. That's amazing. Okay, so I don't have to do it. Here we have the new video. It's 16 minutes in the mastermind.
And welcome back to a new update for the PLO Trainer. By the yellow board menu that you will see, our dashboard. And
so if you want a structured walkthrough through the new update, then just check out the latest video here in the mastermind. Let me check this out. Yeah, so you will find that here, PLO Trainer update, new design, training center, and skills, and also 2 new posted videos here. How to play against 5 short stackers and 5-card PLO with hand review from Mr. Demonstein. Let's have a look here for a moment.
Hello PLO Mastermind, my name is Demonstein, and I will introduce short stack preflop to you. First off, I would like to start with the fact that even if we don't play short stack, we face short stacks everywhere, right? And it doesn't matter if someone has 20 big blinds. It doesn't matter if you have 20, 50, 100 or 2000 big blinds, because we play, just the effective stuff. So we play as if we were 20. Of course, 5, or maybe this is true. Okay, Jack 6, 7, 5 is too strong. But let's say Ace 7, 6, 5, 4. Yes, hands like this. It's so hard for him, right?
Mr. Demonstein, like he's been playing some of the VIP games in GG. Very nice. I recently watched this video. Where was it? It's also a high stakes video on Club GG. Yeah, if you're playing 5-card PLO.
Hey, how's it going, PLO 5-card Mastermind? My name is Craig, aka here with the middle pair with.
This is an interesting lineup. Yeah, I watched this video. It's a 5-card PLO video on Club GG in a Dubai club. So it's an AED. So this is like $5K stacks, that kind of stuff. Really, really happy to see a ton of high stakes content produced in the PLO Mastermind. So obviously, if you guys are on the PLO Mastermind, plmastermind.com, check it out. 4-card or 5-card PLO. And I would say, let's just jump. We just read through this thing. I want to jump into one more spot that I want to study and work on. Let me look into my stats for a moment to see what so 3-bet pots in position, we did that a little bit. I also think 3-bet pots in position as the caller is something that is not super easy. So say I am post flop, 3-bet pot, button versus small blind, say. Very often this board will be checked at very high frequencies, and then we are in position and we're like, what are we going to do now? So in position, we want to start stabbing really small and leverage our positional advantage and the fact that we're going to have some pretty nice runouts for our range. So by betting 1/3, our opponent has to continue with much more hands, and that makes it really difficult out of position. So say we bet 1/3. Our opponent has to call, or has to continue with 70% of the range. more than that even, out of position, which is pretty challenging. So let's see like how we're going to be stabbing here. Ace king 4-3. So opponent checks. Should we start stabbing or checking? I mean, one of the check calling hands will be aces with backdoor diamonds, which we block. One of the check raising hands will be pocket kings with spades, which we also block. So we could certainly stab. If we stab and get jammed, we obviously give up on some pretty nice outs. I guess the ace and the king, the 4 and the 3. So I'm not really sure, but we stab a bunch. So why not, right? Yeah, seems so fine. This one as well. So we basically have a jack and a 5 blocker and a deuce blocker and a spade blocker and the diamond blockers. And at the same time, our hand is complete trash for a check back. So intuitively, I would think we can start bluffing and then barreling off in some exotic way. Okay, I want to see how this progresses. So let's say we bet and get called. The turn is a spicy, 10. I mean, I guess it's pretty straightforward. I mean, we have ace, jack, 5 deuce. So we're just going to bet the turn. Whenever I look into these flop solutions, I'm trying to understand what is the multi-street plan. Because if you don't understand the multi-street plan, it's sometimes difficult to see the flop bet, right? So you can see the turn is always a barrel with this hand. So if we go back to this one on the top right there, ace, jack, 5 deuce, it's like, why do we bet the flop? Because we are going to use this hand in order to barrel off on certain runouts with no showdown. So the 10 rolls off and we barrel full frequency here. Say we bet and get called one more time, and then the river is a break. I mean, we always go all in. Let's say the river is a queen. I mean, we're obviously all in. Like, what are we waiting for, right? Ace, jack, 5 deuce. On the button. Ace, jack, 5 deuce. And actually, well, it depends if we have a spade. If we have 2 spades. If we don't have 2 spades, if we have no spade at all, we're definitely all in. If we have 1 spade, we're actually not interested in shoving 1 spade as much. I guess the queen is not optimal. Like if the river is a 9, I think we would just shove all the combos. Wait, and a 9, I think we have ace, jack, 5. No, we don't have a straight. I think on the 9, we're just always shoving like all the combos, probably. So, well, no, I mean the 2 spade combos we're not a huge fan. But now we're comfortably shoving the 1 spade combos. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. So always trying to understand like what is the multi-street plan here. Jack 9-7-6 would suck quite a bit to get ripped. So without a spade blocker, I think we're just going to check and see the turn. This hand is a bit too much middle of the way. Just check. And now we have arrived. So we have a 5, we have a spade, we got a 10, we got a diamond. So certainly we have enough reasons to put a bet into the middle. We only have to think about like how much would it suck if we get ripped. And I think I would think we're weak enough to just bet. We don't love the 2 hearts, because we really want him to have 2 hearts in check fold. However, we also have 1 spade and 1 diamond and a 5. Yeah, so we bet. Ace king 8-5. Hate the hearts. No spades. Just check. What is this? Bottom 2 gutter. There's probably nothing super wrong betting, but it becomes pretty weird if we get raised. Becomes very strange if we get raised. We can't fold against the jam, but we really don't like our life. So we don't like the clubs anyway for building a pot. Probably just check. It's a mistake. I mean, a7-6-4. What are you going to do if you get raised? You're just folding. We bet. We get... Okay, so in this case, the small blind raise is small. It's very polarized. I mean... Yeah, maybe if our opponent pots, probably less happy to put into the betting range if he can pot. Looks like this hand is strong enough to get it in, so we just bet the flop. That's interesting. Obviously checking this one. Ace, king, 8 deuce. Don't like the 2 hearts. Obviously, we really like that king of spades and the 8. But I think it's not quite enough. We also turn a pretty clean ace or a king. The 2 is also clean. Yeah, check. I don't know what to do with this thing. I would probably just bet fold. No, you want to see turns. I mean, you have the gutter set outs, flush outs. I guess it's too good. I think this one we just bet fold now. This is pretty bad. Still too good. Okay. We need a weaker hand. And now we were looking to bet fold. King, king, 7-5. I guess we have a diamond there. This is too weak. This is a check. Okay, makes sense. Check this one. Check this one. Check this one. Oh, we checked the king, king, 8-8. I mean, it's no EV difference there, but it's kind of a funny one. Okay. I think this is it for the moment. There's a lot more to explore, obviously. I mean, the fact that the training is like much more visual is like certainly one of the biggest updates. But obviously, like if you haven't used our software in the last, I don't know, so many months, there's a bunch of stuff going on. We have equity graphs, we have the matrix, we have aggregated reports, right? So here we have the equity distribution graph for out of position and in position in a 3-bet pot. We have the matrix to see like what kind of hands are pre or post flop betting and checking. We have the aggregated reports. So basically you can aggregate all the 3-bet pots out of position in a listing, and you can say, okay, we have 1,755 different flops. You can just say, I want to see straight flops that are 2-toned and that are, I don't know, 9 high. So those are 18 flops. I select those flops, and it shows you your average bet frequency, which is going to be 54%, and your preferred bet sizing is going to be 1/3, which you can see right over here. And then you can just select whatever board you want to select, and then you can start training there. So you can say, for example, the 987 is an interesting one. So we're going to look into 987, right? So 987 right there. How do I play it out of position? Jump into the training and start plugging away and learning. And then as you learn, like here in the info tab, by the way, ace, queen, flush draw, single suited. So these are the not flush draws. So like ace, queen. I mean, what do we need really? We need like a jack 7, ace, queen, jack 7. We do need probably a 10 with some connection, but like most of those hands are going to be checking. Actually, in this case, we have the ace, queen, jack, deuce, which should be there, right? So this hand actually likes betting. I mean, the EV differences of a lot of these value combos are pretty close. Here, I also would want to bet because we have just so much value. Okay, probably checking this one. Okay, so jack 10. If you go to full range right there. I mean, how happy is jack 10 betting without a spade? Majority is going to check. If we have no 9, no 8, no 7. Sure. Okay. Going to take a little bit of a break and then jump into these games over here. It's not going to be streamed today, but in 20 minutes, a new cycle starts. Coin Poker is going to continue doing the 6 max tables as an experiment. 6 max with an ante, the same format we had in the Cash Game World Championship, but without the no rake structure, obviously. And they're going to compare how that performs versus the 7 max table. So if you liked that format, jump in, vote with your dollars, play the 6 max tables. I'm going to be playing those in a bit in order to try to go after this leaderboard. And obviously, if you want to play on Coin Poker, then don't forget to use my name when you sign up. And with that, we're going to be out for today. Check out the new update here, PLO Trainer, new UI for 4 and 5 card PLO. There's an instructional video about it in the PLO Mastermind. And with that, we're going to be out for today. Hopefully, you guys have enjoyed the stream. Take care, guys. GG's, and I'll catch you guys another day. Take care.